The national housing market may be slowing down, but Rhode Island is still playing by a different set of rules. Depending on which headline you read right now, you might think home prices are about to fall, maybe mortgage rates are about to save affordability, or buyers finally have all the leverage. But when we look at the actual second quarter numbers here in Rhode Island, the story's a lot more nuanced. We have fewer sales in some parts of the market, we have homes taking slightly longer to sell, but we also have prices continuing to rise. Homes still selling at or above the asking price, and inventory levels that remain well below what most people would consider a balanced market. So let's break down what happened statewide, what happened here in our hometown of Warwick, and even Kent County, and what these numbers may mean if you're thinking about buying or selling. Let's start with the Rhode Island single-family market statewide. In the second quarter, there were 3,692 new single-family listings, up about 1.2% from the same quarter last year. That sounds like more inventory, and technically it is, but the increase was very small. At the same time, total sales fell from about 2,042 to 1,968, a decline of about 3.6%. So more homes came on the market, but fewer transactions closed. Normally, you might expect that to put significant pressure on prices. That didn't happen. The average single-family sales price increased from about $645,800 to nearly $695,000. That is a year-over-year increase of about 7.6%. The median sales price rose from about $500,450 to $529,000, an increase of about 5.7%. The average price per square foot also climbed from $390 to $409. And statewide single-family homes still sold for an average of 101% of their list price. That is an important number. It tells us that while buyers may have a little more time and a little more room to evaluate their options, well-positioned homes are still attracting strong demand. Average days on market increased from 29 days to 32 days. This is also a noticeable change, but it's not a dramatic slowdown. 32 days is still a relatively quick market. Now let's add inventory to the picture, because this is one of the most important numbers in the entire update. As of early July, Rhode Island had approximately 1.9 months of single-family inventory. A balanced market is generally thought of as having substantially more supply than that, usually 4 to 6 months of inventory. So even though that pace is not as frantic as it was a few years ago, Rhode Island is still operating with limited inventory. There were roughly 1,220 active single-family listings, while the market has been averaging approximately 634 sales per month over the prior 12 months. That relationship between active listings and monthly sales is why inventory remains tight. In Kent County, new single-family listings fell from 792 to 719, a drop of about 9.2%. Total sales declined from 478 to 439, about an 8.2% decrease. But once again, prices moved in the opposite direction. The average sales price increased slightly to approximately $534,200. The median sales price rose from $450,750 to $475,000, an increase of about 5.4%, and the average price per square foot increased to $356. Homes continue to sell for an average of 102% of list price, and average days on market moved from 25 days to 30 days. Kent County currently has approximately 1.3 months of single-family inventory. That is even tighter than the statewide number. There were about 193 active listings compared with an average of approximately 145 sales per month. So when people ask why prices in Kent County have remained resilient even with fewer sales, that inventory number is a major part of the answer. There simply aren't enough available homes to create broad downward pressure on pricing. Warwick tells a similar story. New listings declined from 397 to 366, a drop of approximately 7.8%. Total sales fell from 255 to 236, or approximately a 7.5% decrease. But the average sales price increased from $478,400 to approximately $505,700. That's a gain of about 5.7%. The median sales price rose from $440,000 to $463,450, an increase of approximately 5.3%, and the average price per square foot jumped from $356 to $364. Homes sold for an average of 102% of their list price, and the average time on market increased modestly from 24 days to 27 days. Warwick has approximately 1.2 months of single-family inventory. That is the tightest inventory level among the markets we're covering here. There were about 90 active listings, while Warwick has been averaging approximately 77 sales per month. So in Warwick, we're not looking at a market flooded with options. We're looking at a market with slightly fewer transactions, but very limited supply and continued competition for the better homes. Now let's look at condos. Statewide condo listings increased from 807 to 840, a gain of approximately 4.1%. Sales on this side also increased slightly, from 501 sales to 506. The average condo sales price rose from approximately $477,200 to $495,900, an increase of about 3.9%. The median price increased to $405,000, and condos sold for an average of 100% of their list price, and the average days on market increased from 34 days to 39 days. The condo market currently has approximately 2.5 months of inventory. This is up from 2.1 months the previous month. That is more supply than we are seeing in the single-family market, but it's still not an oversupplied environment. There were approximately 382 active condo listings statewide, compared with an average monthly sales number of about 154 units. One number that stands out is condo price per square foot. That declined actually from $462 to $401. That may reflect differences in the type, size, location, or condition of the condos that sold this quarter compared with the same time last year. It's a good reminder that statewide averages do not tell the full story for an individual property. Now let's look at multifamily homes. Statewide multifamily listings increased from 717 to 738. Meanwhile, sales dipped slightly from 385 to 380 during this past quarter. The average sales price rose from approximately $625,400 to $644,400. The median price increased from $585,000 to $600,000. And the average price per square foot jumped from $216 to $229. Multifamily properties sold for an average of 101% of their list price, while the average days on market increased from 27 days to 34. Multifamily inventory currently sits at approximately 2.4 months of inventory, up slightly from 2.3 months the previous month. There were about 295 active multifamily properties in the state, compared with an average monthly sales of approximately 125 properties. So even in the multifamily market, where buyers tend to be far more focused on things like income, expenses, and a return, supply remains relatively constrained. Now let's connect Rhode Island to the national picture. Nationally, the market is moving towards a little bit more of a balanced market. Price growth is slowing in many areas. Buyers in some parts of the country have more negotiating power. And there is an expectation that monthly affordability could improve modestly as price growth cools and mortgage rates settle. But modest improvement is not the same thing as housing suddenly becoming inexpensive. One recent affordability projection suggested that a meaningful recovery in housing affordability could still be many years away. That matters because many buyers are building their entire plan around one sentence: I'm just going to wait. Waiting may absolutely be the right decision for some people. Maybe your income's changing. Maybe you need to improve your credit. Maybe you're not sure how long you want to remain in Rhode Island. Maybe the monthly payment simply doesn't fit comfortably into your budget. Those are real reasons to wait. But waiting only because you assume prices are going to collapse or rates are going to create a dramatically cheaper payment is a different decision. The Rhode Island numbers show why. Statewide single-family prices increased nearly 8% on average, even though sales declined. Kent County's median price rose more than 5%, even with listings and sales both falling. Warwick's average sales price rose nearly 6%, while inventory remained at only 1.2 months. That is not evidence of a market with widespread price weakness. It's evidence of a market where affordability remains difficult, largely because supply is still tight. And there's another piece buyers need to think about. Suppose mortgage rates do move lower. That would improve purchasing power, no doubt about it. But lower rates can bring more buyers back into the market. If demand increases faster than inventory, buyers may face more competition, stronger offers, and even higher prices. So the right question is not simply, should I wait for rates to fall? The better question is, what would my monthly payment look like today? What would it look like under a few different rate scenarios? And what could happen to the price of the home if demand increases? That's a much more useful comparison. It replaces guessing with actual numbers. For sellers, the message is also nuanced. Yes, prices are higher. Yes, inventory does remain low. And yes, many homes are still selling at or above their list price. But homes are taking longer to sell than they did at the same time last year. Buyers are payment conscious. They're paying closer attention to condition, location, and value. A seller simply can't look at last year's highest neighborhood sale, add another 5 or 10%, and assume buyers will accept it. The homes getting the strongest results right now are the homes that are prepared properly, priced with the current competition in mind, and positioned well from the beginning. This is a strong market for many sellers. It's just a lot less of a forgiving market for sellers who overprice. So here's the real takeaway from the second quarter of 2026. Rhode Island's not experiencing a major housing correction at all. Sales volume is softer in several segments. Homes are taking a little bit longer to sell. Condo and multifamily inventory has increased slightly, but statewide single-family inventory remains below 2 months of inventory. Kent County is at approximately 1.3 months. Warwick is at approximately 1.2 months. Prices are still rising across most of the local markets that we reviewed, and homes are still selling at roughly 100 to 102% of their list price on average, depending on property type and location. For buyers, that means you may have more time than you did during the peak frenzy, but you still need to be prepared when the right home becomes available. For sellers, it means demand is still there, but pricing and preparation matter way more than they did before. And for anyone waiting out the market to become obvious, predictable, or perfectly affordable, the second quarter numbers are a reminder that real estate rarely gives us a perfect window. The better decision is usually the one based on your finances, your timeline, your goals, and the actual conditions in the market where you plan to move.